Hey, Neil McDonnell. I usually wait till 12 o'clock to start, but my cell phone looks like it's a black screen. Somebody's on mobile. Can you let me know whether you can actually see it in chat? Desktop, I can tell that we're good to go. Um, there it goes. I can see it coming out there now. So we'll wait a couple more seconds and we'll get started. Hey, Neil McDonnell here. We're going to get started right now with LinkedIn Live. If you don't know who I am, I'm the president of GovCon Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you to my daily LinkedIn Live, where I share process and procedure steps on succeeding in the federal market. I spent 20 years as a small business owner in the federal market. And since 2018, I've been teaching small business owners like you, salespeople like you, and capture people like you that government contracting, it's not a secret, it's just a process. And so if you follow that process A to Z, you'll achieve the success you're looking for in that path. Thanks a lot for the people who are giving me heads up that we're good to go. Today, we're going to cover a couple of different things. But before we get started, I just want to put in your head what I'm aiming to teach you today. You could think of today's lesson about how to get in any door in LinkedIn. I mean, any federal door using LinkedIn. You can think about it from a winning perspective. If I use one word, getting in a door leads to winning. It allows me to be able to have conversations with the buyer, discuss the requirements, maybe influence the acquisition approach, things like that. And it all leads to winning. And that's kind of my goal when I want to teach you how to get in the door. In the old days, I used to spend a lot of time, a lot of us did, walking hallways, handing out business cards, meeting people in the Pentagon is where I was at in particular, or we'd go to conferences. But now you have all this ability to walk those virtual hallways using LinkedIn. And I want to be able to drive you in that direction. Before we get too far, this is a growing community, and I want you to put your company name, a core competency in the chat. Yesterday, I connected two people on a cybersecurity commonality. So I knew about both of them, the need and the person who could address the need, because I saw in the comments somebody like you putting their core competency in. And just this morning, I did the same thing where there was somebody who's looking to do more in the federal space. And I pointed them to two different people who were in the community, one in AI and one in cybersecurity. And I said, you got to hook up with these two people because they're going places and maybe you can add value to them. They can add value to you. But I'm able to do that stuff just because I know what your core competency and what your company name is. And I begin to drive it into my memory. So go ahead and put that in the chat as you get a moment. Today, we're going to go through a fast-paced lesson teaching you about LinkedIn. And in particular, I want to talk to you about finding key agency and industry points of contact, right? How do you do that? The next thing is how to follow and learn about them. When you find them, you want to look in and learn about an agency. Well, here we're going to be learning about an individual, what's important to them, maybe a little bit about their background, et cetera. And then the third thing I want to talk about is how to engage these people on LinkedIn. There's this idea about know, like, and trust, and the journey begins with finding people so that they know you, you know them. So I'm going to talk about engaging them for visibility. And then the last thing I'll talk about is how do you ask for a meeting? And I'll show you this all live in the way I do it. I'm going to take you right into LinkedIn and do it for real. I did want to point out a couple of things before I share screens. When I talk about LinkedIn and building relationships, et cetera, there's this line out there that people buy from who they know, like, and trust. And I submit that people don't buy from who they know, like, and trust. What they do is talk to people they know, like, and trust. And so you can gather information, you can shape opportunities, et cetera. They buy from somebody who submits a proposal that fits the metrics and it passes the criteria. But the know, like, and trust is shift left. It's earlier in the process. If somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, they will invite you into a meeting. They will talk about the requirement. They will listen to you as you try to shape their thinking on the requirement or the acquisition approach. And so, yes, know, liking, and trusting is important, but it's actually important at the early part of sales, not at the end of sales. The second thing to keep in mind, if you haven't done this, if you haven't heard me say this before, in sales, we talk about when you think about who's going to buy from you. Some people will buy from you, some people won't. And the phrase I use to remind myself is some will, some won't, so what? Some will buy from me, some won't buy from me, so what? And that so what's not a bad thing. It just is reminding me, don't fixate on either group. Just because I'm getting somebody to buy from me doesn't make that great. If I have 100 people, all the people who are buying from me and not buying from me are equally important, because in sales, you need yeses and nos. You never, ever just get yeses. So understanding that, you will be able to be relaxed when you get nos, and just remember, some will, some won't, so what? I wanted to show you a quick bell curve that I use. Let me see if I bring this little guy up. Okay, let me turn this off. So you should see a bell curve, an adoption bell curve. And this is the first time I ever heard about it was back in the Silicon Valley days when I was in Silicon Valley. And it's called a technology adoption curve. And the idea here is when you are selling something, your services or your products, this is who's going to buy or not buy from you. So if you look at the left-hand side, you see innovators. And if you think about, if I was going to sell something, when I contact the innovators, they're going to say to me, oh my God, I've been waiting for you to sell something. I want to buy it. I trust you. I know you. I like you. Let's go. And so 2.5% of the people I reach out to will say, I've been waiting for you. The early adopters, 13.5%, these people are going to say, well, tell me about it. I'm interested. I like you. Let's hear about it. So you need to go a little bit more into this. The early majority, 34%, are people who probably aren't going to buy until they see the feedback from innovators and early adopters. What kind of results did you get when you worked with Neil? Blah, blah, blah. So the early majority will wait for that confirmation, but they're probably going to buy. And then on the other side of the bell curve, you've got the late majority. These people tend not to buy unless they absolutely need to. Somehow they're kind of forced into the situation, but generally they weren't looking to buy and they don't want to buy. And then the laggards never will buy. So 16% will never, ever buy from me. 34% are most likely never to buy. And this center white line that you see here in the bell curve is the divide between some will and some won't. And as you can see, if we have 100 people that we're knocking on doors for, 50 of them are not going to buy from me. 34 out of that 100 are not going to buy until they see a lot of social proof or actual proof that somebody went through your service or product and got the results that everybody's looking for. And so that 34% is out there. The people you're trying to really reach are the innovators and early adopters. And in fact, the ones I really try to find are the innovators, because you're not having to sell them anymore. They're already there. I'm talking tomorrow, I think, in LinkedIn Live about how do you prove you're a SME, a subject matter expert. And in there, you'll hear me talk about when you put your information out and your expertise out, your buyers are watching, waiting, and will come to you when the time allows. And so keep in mind, as we go into LinkedIn and I talk to you about how to knock on doors, just because I'm teaching you how to knock on doors doesn't mean every door is going to open. Some of those people will open the door and some of those people won't, and that's totally okay. You're trying to find the people who are ready for what you sell, and they've been looking for you, or they want to hear about it, and then they will buy. In the federal space, it's got a little bit more process involved, but it's basically the same thing. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to take you into LinkedIn, and we're going to go to town here in a fire hose way, if you will. So I got about 20 minutes, and we'll dive into this. The first thing I wanted to point out, just a quick thing that I thought was cool, is I just wanted to highlight somebody who's in the community, because I like what's here. When you're using LinkedIn, which we're about to, and we're going to try to reach out to people, they're going to instantly look at you. They're going to see that, hey, Dr. Shah here has looked at my profile. They're going to say, well, who's that? And they might look back. And the first thing they might see is this headline. And I love it because it's treating data as a strategic asset by using AI to deliver information when leaders need it, right? That's a good headline for LinkedIn. And so that might pull them back to the profile. When they come back to his profile, this headline or this banner at the top is really cool because it's basic but it instantly is showing me technology of some sort, and I can tell that it's data related because of the charts. And then it just has this other line where machine learning meets intelligent analytics. That inspires me to want to come down on this person's profile. And so I'm just recommending to you that you make sure that your headline and your banner are doing its job to pull people into your profile to learn more about you as you are trying to learn more about them. So let's go ahead and go into a couple of different screens about finding people. The first one I want to put down is Jaime here from Department of State. And I'm connected with him, but you can see over here, I'm following him. I've told you about the bell notification. Click on that so you know what's going on. But I just wanted to point out what it means when you follow and engage people, you begin to hear about things. And yesterday and Monday, I was talking about capture and hearing about opportunities. But he just put this opportunity out, and he's got this post featured up there. And so he's sharing he's sharing the Department of State. Let me go to his posts. If I come down here and I show you his activity, in here you can see with his posts that he's sharing some information out here. And the part I really wanted to point out, first off, this is a large IDIQ, and I can't remember, but I think it's for small business too. So if this is your space or your customer, definitely go take a look at it. And I think he's going to have a replay of this industry day as well, in case you're interested. But one of the things I wanted to point out is as you look down and you start seeing the engagement, here I am engaged with him and having a conversation. And when you start engaging with somebody and you're building a relationship, and I'll talk more about this in a second, it doesn't take long for you to rise to the top of the LinkedIn visibility radar when you're engaging and people can see you. So get engaged with people's content, and when they put stuff on, pay attention to it. I commented on this, and I was able to sit there and by the way, engage relevantly. So don't engage if you have nothing to say. But for me, it was really important to learn more about this IDIQ. How can I help put the word out? And then what I also did, I think I did this with him. I didn't do it here with him, but I did tag him on another comment that said, hey, reach out to Jennifer Schaus or Kevin Jans, different people in the industry who, if he's trying to reach the industry, he can connect with. But I'm building a relationship with him because what he wants to do is to reach industry, and I'm helping him do that. With you, if you're in a different space, and let's move into a Department of Navy here. Say I want to do artificial intelligence, just going with a MITS thing. If I want to go with artificial intelligence, then the content I'm engaging is not an IDIQ, but it's content around artificial intelligence. So let's come into how do you find agency points of contact, and then I'm going to move into finding industry points of contact, and we'll expand into that. So here, what you can see is the Department of Navy's Program Executive Office for MLB, right? Manpower, Logistics, and Business Solutions. There's a lot of IT work, data work in particular that goes into this. And just because, again, I'm pulling a MIT through this thread, I'm able to find out the agencies I'm looking for. So the Navy is my primary agency for this example. And I'm looking at this particular PEO because this is where most of the work that I would want to do is coming out of. And my point here is just about finding people. So I can see that there's 30 employees, 30 people who tie themselves directly to PEO MLB. When I click on it, now I can start going in and seeing who these people are. Right here, right away, I can see that Christine Rodriguez is the PEO director or executive officer, excuse me. And somewhere in here, I bet you I could find a deputy director, et cetera. But if I want to get in, and I get asked this a lot, how do I find decision makers? Well, here are decision makers. And from these people, I can then begin to find others, right? Today is not a thread of going down this rabbit hole of finding people because there's so much right here. But if I look at Michael Todd Gaston, for example, he's a program manager. Program managers are below the program executive office. And so he's probably got one of these programs like this person at the top who is a lead under PMW 250, right? And it's funny, I can instantly tell this person probably hasn't been on here a while because it still says SPAWAR, which is the old name for that. But I can go in and begin to explore these people. So let's take Christine Rodriguez just as a quick example. As I move in, I want to come in and see what kind of activity this person's doing. And the first thing I want to do, I know that she is somebody I want to engage with on LinkedIn eventually. I certainly want to be following so that I know what she's saying, because what she's saying is important to me as it relates to the Navy. And so you can see here, this is a program executive officer. It's the highest up person in MLB. I want to follow them. One thing I do is I click on more and I hit follow, right? And I'm already following her. But the next level of following that I can do, so when I follow somebody, but I don't track them completely, I'm only getting some of their information. But if I click on this bell up here, now I'm starting to follow them, right? I want to find people and then I'm following. So if you see at the bottom left, it says now I'm going to be notified about all posts from Christine. In my notifications up here, anything Christine posts will now come over into my, not just my feed, but it'll come into the notifications and say, hey, Christine posted something, go check it out, right? And this is really important to me because as I move through my my days and weeks using LinkedIn, I can unfollow the people who just don't fit, and I can follow the people who fit so that I hear more from the people I want to, and I hear less from the people I don't want to hear from. And the key is you don't do it in any kind of bad way, right? Professionalism and just being kind is something that's basic to social media, the same way it would be basic if I see you in a grocery store, right? I would be nice and kind. And so we do that same thing in here. So following her, though, you just saw it, and engaging her, I can begin to watch what she has. And so down here, if you come into her profile, you can see things like she just liked this, this post that came out of MLB. So I'm already following MLB. I might have saw it, but if I wasn't and I'm following her, now I'm seeing that, hey, there's something out of here. And they're talking about our goal is to become something, right? I don't want to go too far down this path as I stick to time, but the idea is I'm finding her, I'm following her, and now I can see what she's sharing that she thinks is important. And she is sharing this information. And I can look in the post to get a little bit more tighter on not just likes, but actually see maybe what she's posting. So here she's posting stuff. Oh, that's funny. So here she is. It looks like maybe having gone in there for virtual reality type stuff. Anyways, that's finding somebody in there. Another quick example from the government side is if I go over to Army PEO EIS, same thing, right? This is enterprise information systems. It's IT. I'm in the IT space. I'm going to follow these people. I want to know what's going on. But if I want to begin to find actual people, not just the company, if you will, then I'm going to click here to look at the employees. And in here, they've got so many people. What I'm really looking for are the people. So a PEO or a program executive office has a lot of projects. I'm looking for the people who are engaged in the projects I'm interested in. And so you see different people that are in here, but I might come down and look at, well, here's somebody who's a federal acquisition professional. It instantly catches my eye and I go, okay, what's Amanda doing? Is she engaged on LinkedIn? Can I learn more from following her? But here is portfolio director. That's not who I'm looking for. But here, network and infrastructure. So Jennifer, I would go in, follow her, and turn on that notification so I can see what's going on. As I'm building up my understanding of PEO EIS in this case, I would begin to prioritize all the people I know who are in there to understand which ones do I really want to reach out and get to know. So let me leave that there. I did want to come up with just, so I must not have it here, but let me show you how to do industry as an example. So say I'm trying to team up with a large prime. In particular, I'm looking for SAIC. So here I just type in capture. It's a quick way because I want to find people who are in a capture role that maybe I can team up with. Maybe I can begin to build a relationship with them that leads me to opportunities, et cetera. And so I'm going to say, show me people in LinkedIn who are in capture role. And here I've got 216,000, right? A lot of people all over the world. The next thing I'm going to do is to search here and say, I'm looking for people from SAIC. So there's SAIC, and I pull that up, and I can pick any company that's out there, right? So here's 191 people. I personally won't filter this down anymore. What I'll do is look at every one of these 191 and begin to decide, which ones are a fit for me. Actually, I might do one more thing that just says, show me only people in the country. So I got one person off the list, right? But in here, I'm able to start looking down and seeing who's doing capture. This person is capture at SAIC for both defense and civilian. So that's a lot. But I can go down and slowly start finding people who are maybe in the space that I'm looking for. Because they're just using titles, I can't see a lot. So I have to dive in. But when you dive in, when you start following and engaging people, maybe even reaching out to them, I can learn who at SAIC is in, let's say DHS is where I'm trying to target. I can find out who's supporting DHS, and maybe SAIC has 2 to 5 people or something over there. Well, now those people I can follow and engage as I'm slowly trying to help them know who I am by engaging. They go, oh, I know that Neil guy. He's on LinkedIn. He engages in a nice way, whatever it is. And then I can begin to move forward to actually reaching out and talking to them. So you can do this with any company. The smaller you go, the harder it is to find people by titles. But certainly when you're looking at companies that are doing, let's say, 10 million plus, you can generally find their business developers and capture people. And the reason I say that's an important group is because they tend to be the buyers if you're a subcontractor, right? You're selling yourself as a member of their team. So they tend to be the decision makers, or at least the significant influencers to whether you join the team. They have a set of criteria they're looking for their team. If you can go in and fill that criteria or meet any part of it, then they'd be open to talking with you. But this is how you can use LinkedIn, right? You can track what they're doing on there, what they're talking about, et cetera. Okay, so the last one I wanted to point out is how I engage with somebody out there, right? When you look at somebody like this guy, Rob, he's in the Navy and he's in data and AI. So data analytics, data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I'm following this person because it fits for me. As I was engaging, actually the way I found him is he came up in my feed because LinkedIn has learned that what I want to see are people in government contracting. I'm not looking for anything else. And so anybody in this space, LinkedIn is learning to serve that up. And this came up and I engaged in his content. And the thing I wanted to show you before I reach out to him with you, so you can see down here, he's been part of the Navy SPAWAR. That's NAVWAR now, but NAVWAR right here, this is NIWC Atlantic. That's part of NAVWAR. So he's still in the Navy, which is great. And I can see he's down in Charleston. But I wanted to show you this thing that when you engage, how people begin to know you. Nothing spectacular. You never really want to engage with people unless there's a fit or you can add something relevant. You can ask a question that makes sense. But this gentleman's been posting on LinkedIn about, in particular, artificial intelligence, data science. And I wanted to show you 2 posts that I just happened to engage because he is somebody I'm following. He is somebody in a customer that I want to know a lot about. As I come down, you can see here, he posted this one, Becoming AI Powerhouse. There's one comment. And if you come down here, there's another one about rethinking conflict, and there's one comment. Both of those comments are me. I came in and I'm looking at it, and I had something in there that I was talking about. They're talking about how to implement artificial intelligence within the federal government, basically. And I said, I'd like to see cloud smart instead of cloud first, AI smart instead of AI first. With cloud, we tended to rush into it, but then we got smart about it and changed our philosophy. Anyways, I wrote that, and I got engagement back from him that just, hey, I like your comment. He could have expanded on it, but imagine if I'm doing this over a period of time. I'm engaging in this content when I think it's appropriate. That's a good thing. Just using him as an example, right? Is I could try to reach out to him. I might actually be connected already. No, so I didn't connect. So everybody can do it a different way. LinkedIn has messaging, which is email you can kind of send. I don't particularly like it. When I get to a certain stage, I just reach out and connect. And so in a case like this, and I just want to show you how I connect. This is a little bit earlier than I would connect with somebody like Rob. But when you connect, you can just send it blind, which I get a lot of these, and I don't particularly like them. Or you can add a note, right? And in this particular case, I'll just say something like, hi, Rob. Thanks for the great AI and data content. This is one of my favorite things to say. I welcome a connection here if you're open to it, and an intro call to learn more. Right? I would have got a little bit more specific on what I'm saying, but you get the general idea. I'm trying to drive specifically when I'm finally reaching out to go make a connection with somebody. I would tie it back to what they're doing, what we're talking about, maybe out there, and then I'm asking for a connection if they're open to it. And so let me just hit send, and I'd leave it at that. So when you talk about trying to get in any door, right, the thing I want you to remember, and let me just come back here and stop sharing for a second as we wrap up. The thing I want you to remember as you talk about using LinkedIn to get in any door, LinkedIn is a professional network. If somebody came to LinkedIn and they don't want to have interaction, then they can just make their profile not public, or they can disconnect, unfollow, or not engage with you. And it's the same thing you can do with people who, what they're sharing is not relevant to you. But when they're on here, it's no different than a conference. They're walking the conference, they're looking to network. The reason we are on LinkedIn is because it's a networking tool. We're not in here because this is our backyard porch, right? We're on here because we want to be found. We want to be found by the right person. Well, then we just connect with the people we want to connect with, and we don't connect with the ones we don't. But when you start engaging with somebody and show them where there might be relevance by slowly working the content with them, following their stuff first, people will appreciate the fact that you're trying to understand, that idea of seek first to understand, then to be understood. People will appreciate that. And so I encourage you to do that. I especially encourage you to get engaged with, if you're looking at a particular agency or program office like I did, get engaged with that program office content as well, because you can learn a lot about what they're sharing, but also who in their organization is engaged with it on LinkedIn, which then leads you into a potential meeting. And then opening a door begins with a like, then it expands with a comment, and then it expands further with a connection request. So keep those ones in mind. They'll all serve to open up the door for you as you move forward. Okay, so we talked about a path to getting into any door using LinkedIn. Find and follow people on LinkedIn you'd like to meet. Engage them and their content slowly at first, then make it relevant. And when the time's right, make that request for an intro meeting. If you found this valuable, give it a thumbs up. Tomorrow, I'll be talking about how to demonstrate that you're a subject matter expert using LinkedIn. So if you're a subject matter expert, but nobody knows, then it's not helping you in your sales process. And then Friday, I'll be talking about how do you use 30 minutes every day to engage LinkedIn in a way that will help you with your sales. If either of those are helpful to you and interesting to you, make sure you go and click on attend and show up on those days. Remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process. I'll see you the next time.